Hello everybody, welcome back to Planet Coaster 2 and welcome back to Silver Sands. On today's episode, the plan is we're going to be attempting to build a little bit of a roadside diner, and then I'm also going to be adding in a contribution from another friend of the channel, and then I'm hoping to make another small addition to the park's small coaster lineup. So yeah, I think that's the plan. It's a few little bits and bobs. Let's crack on. Okay, so first update, we've got the beginnings of this diner, and I've just been sort of blocking out the basic shape, or the beginnings of the basic shape of how I want it to look. I did a bit of a classic thing with this where I thought I'd had an original idea, which was to do this kind of round or circular shaped building and to call it the Desert Rose, and the building is going to be pink, or at least have little sort of pink highlights. And as I've started working on it, I've realised that somebody actually gave me this idea and I sort of stored it away in my subconscious and then consequently forgot about being given this idea. So I need to give a huge shout out to Okie Dokie Games, or just Oak, who's a fellow YouTuber that makes very good, very funny videos in Planet Coaster and The Sims, and we'd been chatting and he'd sent me this concept art of this circular diner, which it also happens to be pink. And I think he sent this to me like after the first episode, which is several months ago now, and I've been working on a million other things since then, and I just sort of forgot basically. And then also as I was thinking about getting to this diner, I'd started looking at Mel's Diner. I think it's at Universal in Florida, this particular Mel's Diner, which also has this kind of very similar sort of semicircle seating area around the front of the building like this. So I think what I've ended up with is sort of an amalgamation of those two ideas. I think I'm probably going to have to extend the building in this direction and maybe in this direction because we're going to need to have a kitchen and some restrooms and probably more seating than this circular area will allow for. So, but this is the basic blocking of the kind of circle area. And then I guess the other kind of major feature of this that I love and want to highlight is this kind of mid-century modern breeze block wall that we've got here at the entrance. And this is kind of a staple of MCM designs, which kind of combines like visual interest with utility in that it provides both shade and air circulation simultaneously, which is super useful in hot places like California or Florida, particularly Palm Springs. You know, you see this sort of thing all over the place in Palm Springs. These are actually all individual blocks, and they're all made once again using a bunch of these half-width painted brick walls that I used in the first episode. But here we're using them for the outside, and then this inside is made up of lots of these little coaster support 3 connector piece, which is this one here, which has got one end that's rounded and one end that's flat. And this piece is super useful, again, because it goes down super small, goes down to 10%, so you can use it for lots of fine little details like this. And yeah, I'm just like dead chuffed with how this came out, really. I had a bunch of references stored up of these kinds of breeze block walls, and I knew it was something that I really wanted to include in this project from the outset. I think it works really well here to create this kind of shaded entrance area, and I will probably be looking for more ways to add these to future builds, especially outside the park. That's where we're up to so far. I will come back again with another update once we've built a little bit more of this building. Okay, welcome back. Actually, you know what? I'm going to delete the roof so I can show you around inside a little bit more easily. So, progress has been made. The interior of the diner is, I think, mostly complete at this point. I still need to add a few more little details here and there, but I can now step onto the path here and I can give you a little walkthrough. So we come through the glass doors here. On the left here, we've got a little kind of coat hanging area. I might try and figure out if I can populate these by hiding a gift shop counter somewhere so that we can fill them out with postcards and stuff. And then here I wanted to have one of these. You see these all the time at kind of hotels and restaurants, and you know, when you're in a sort of tourism area, you'll enter a place like this and there'll be one of these little racks that's just filled with pamphlets and leaflets for kind of other attractions that are in the area for you to go and look at. Obviously, these are completely undetailed coloured art shapes, but I think it totally sells the effect that I was going for. And then we've got this amazing jukebox here. This is from the workshop. I did not build this, but it's absolutely beautiful and it really works in a diner like this, I think. And then for the rest of the interior, I just kind of basically wanted to combine this kind of like pink colour that we're using on the outside with a bunch of classic wood panelling. And then we've got a slightly different tone of pink for this kind of tiled wall, which kind of continues over on this side as well. And if we go down here, we've got a little toilet area, restrooms I should say, hidden off in this little nook here, as well as a little kind of maintenance room on the right side here. Yeah, that's basically the interior. I did my best to get these kind of tables around the outside here. I wanted this to be functional, so I am using the in-game booths which are absolutely massive. Obviously, in an ideal world, I would have just built this completely out of non-functional art shapes, and we'd have really cool, like, you know, we could do semicircular booths or whatever, you know, they'd be smaller and tidier and nicer looking, but I do want it to be functional, so I've done my best to get these booths in a sort of circle around it. I still need to fill in these gaps between them. And then I filled in some space with these non-functional kind of two-person tables, which go in a little semicircle around here. And then we've got these abominable massive circular table in the middle here, which is just absolutely huge. I haven't let anyone in here yet, so I'm not sure how the queuing's going to work with this table right here, but the game let me put it, so hopefully it's fine. And then yeah, we've just got this sort of pink neon lighting structure hanging from the ceiling. Obviously I did delete the ceiling, so you can't see the full effect of that. But in the next update, I'll show you the inside here with the roof and everything on it. And then, yeah, other than that, I've sort of built a bit of a kitchen, but I've not gone super high detail on it. I'm just using some workshop bits. These are some new kitchen bits from Bronation creator Fox, which I think are really nice. He's using some metal doors, I think they are, that have this kind of brushed steel look that you get in commercial kitchens. I think they look really nice. It's not super detailed, but it's enough just to kind of sell the impression that there's a kitchen back there. And then these tiles here, again, are made from the same coaster support that I was using in the breeze block wall. There is some crazy Z-fighting going on here, and it's kind of too late to fix that. But these work really nice as a sort of ceramic tile because they've got a shiny surface on them. Very chuffed with how that's all come out. I don't think I talked about the sign in the first update. We've got a sign. There's a bit of gap in the wall there. Oops. Yeah, we've got a sign here. Really simple sign. It's this classic kind of mid-century Oogie sign style where you've got this sort of chevron thing with slightly alternating shades of pink. And yeah, that's basically it. I'll come back with another update once I've sort of decided exactly where this is going to go, finishing touches, all that sort of stuff. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, welcome back. We are here. We have put the diner in place. Other things are happening, as you can see, but we're just going to focus on this for now. Yeah, we've got it situated. It's on the road here. I haven't completely finished sort of detailing the car park on this side because I haven't decided exactly what's going to go on the left here. And again, I haven't finished kind of this like white line here probably needs to change to a dotted line, or I don't know. I need to figure that out. I was thinking I might also just pull everything on this side of the road further back and then have a slip road. I don't know what you'd call it in the US, but you basically have like a smaller road which runs parallel to this main road here, which you then sort of pull in and off of to access these car parks and stuff. So I may do that. Anyway, I am waffling to the extreme. Yeah, as you can see, I've bedded it in here. We've got this kind of nice little sort of stone path leading up to the entrance here. And then yeah, we come through the entrance. Not much has changed inside here really from before. I added some, I filled in the space between all the booths and then added these little wooden dividers. We've got the classic drop ceiling. You can now see the sort of neon light effect with the ceiling in here. We got some tiles on the floor. Oh, I added some artwork in as well. This is a desert rose. We've also got a picture of the Marilyn Monroe statue in Palm Springs, as well as some other just like random generic Palm Springs photos. These are all just from the Palm Springs Wikipedia page. And we've got the desert rose one in the toilet area as well. These clocks are Pac-Man, another Pac-Man classic. And then I also added these hanging light fixtures here above the booths in this area, which I think look rather nice. I don't think I explained how I did this like metal patterning around here, and this is just it's 4 of these aquatic windows domed pieces, and they're all just kind of slightly angled inwards, and then the top 2 are tilting forwards and the bottom 2 are tilting downwards, and then when you embed them against a flat surface you get this kind of diamond in the middle. And I'm doing a similar thing up here with these to give that kind of same effect there. Yeah, I'm dead chuffed with how this build came out in the end. I really love it. I love this interior. And I just love how it looks from the outside as well. Really good vibes. Very happy with it. We've also got a little kind of smaller version of the sign for this when you're coming from this direction. Yeah, super chuffed with it. Right, next up, I have added in this amazing build from friend of the channel Nitro, who we talked about a couple of episodes ago. He was telling me he was in a bit of a creative rut and asked if I wanted anything for the outside of the park. if he could help with that to get his, juices flowing a bit. And I said, absolutely, I would love that. I sent him a link to this blog that I found recently. It's not a blog, it's like an archive of photographs by this photographer, John Margolies, I don't know if that's perhaps pronounced. Anyway, I'll put a link to this in the description because it's this amazing archive of roadside architecture photos, Americana, like all of this kind of stuff that this project is kind of inspired by. And yeah, there was a place in there, I don't think it was Italian Ice, it was something, it might have been a pizza place which had this sort of fake leaning tower outside of it, which Nitro took to, and so he's built this really cool little Italian Ice place, Giuseppe's, with this little miniature leaning tower, which again is just like the exact kind of thing that we're going for with this build, with these sort of weenies which are sort of up against the side of the road and they're just designed to draw the eye and convince you to pull over and spend money basically. So yeah, he's done a really nice job with this. I love this little mural of the tower on the side of the building here, and I think he uploaded it to the workshop so you could technically grab it as well. I did modify his blueprint just a little bit. There was a fence around the outside here and I replaced it with this kind of chain. I don't know, it just felt more appropriate for this area. But yeah, super chuffed with what Nitro did here. I surrounded it with this little sort of sidewalk area, and then I put some picnic benches in here with these trees here so you could have a little sort of lightly shaded eating area as well, not necessarily linked just to Giuseppe's, anyone in the area could come and use these. And then I'm not going to show off too much of this today, but I have also started working on the go-karts, but I'm not totally happy with this reception building yet, and yeah, the actual like karting area nowhere near complete. And I'm also going to have like a little food stand or food truck or something out the front here. But yeah, that's all coming along very nicely. And then the other thing to show off today is this Mad Mouse coaster that I've made. This was largely inspired by the Alan Herschel Mad Mouse coasters, in particular the one at Little America, which is a really cool park that was kind of not necessarily built in the 60s, but a lot of the rides they've got there are rides that they bought from other places that were built originally in the 60s, and then they were sort of bought and reconstructed at this Little America place. So the whole park has this really cool kind of mid-century vibe, and it is mostly just rides that are kind of slapped down on gravel and dirt patches, so that's kind of the vibe I was going for here. And yeah, the ride itself, it's not a perfect recreation by any stretch of the imagination, but it is definitely good enough for me for what I wanted it to be, which was just kind of a fairly sort of simple ride that the whole family can enjoy. It's not too scary, not too big. I think I might want to add another, like a really small kiddie coaster that's like very small, very low intensity. The problem with doing small coasters is that all the rides have absolutely massive station platforms, so it's very difficult just to do a small coaster because you make the coaster loop like realistically small, and 75% of the footprint space of the whole thing is the absolutely massive station platform. So yeah, not sure what I'm going to do about that, but I'm very pleased with how this came out. Obviously I did custom supports for it all. One of the really fun things about this in real life is that it's on this amazing kind of support structure, which is literally just like sitting on the ground. It's not like, it doesn't have concrete footers or anything. So as the ride is kind of going around these turns, you can see the whole structure kind of bending. But yeah, that's basically just situated here along the midway. You get a really cool view of the Mad Mouse sign from back here. And I suppose this is a good point to talk about this thing over here a little bit. I'm not going to go deeply into this at all because it is incomplete, as you can see at the moment, in many ways. But this is the coaster that Kinderley's been working on for the park. And this is sort of basically meant to be a kind of very janky Hopkins style steel coaster, inspired a bit by the ones at Castles and Coasters in Arizona. And yeah, it's just like a mega jank steel looper with very odd shaping, and obviously Kinderley's doing it, so it is a work of art still. It's got all this amazing support structure, and the plan is basically to have a tilt-a-whirl kind of. The tilt-a-whirl was here before the coaster, and they've just sort of built the coaster over the top of it. But as I say, this is very unfinished. I mostly just put it in here because I was trying to plan out exactly where I wanted this to go and how much bigger the actual park was going to be. I think the plan is basically that this path is going to continue up to here, and then that's going to be the end of the park there. And on this side of the midway here, not exactly sure. Toying with the idea of a small kind of like old school dark ride of some kind, maybe, although still very unclear on that. Maybe a log flume would be kind of cool as well, like an old school log flume, because we've got that cool new vintage log flume in the game, which we didn't have in Planet Coaster 1. So it might be cool to build something with that. But yeah, that's basically going to be it for this episode, I think. that covers most of the things I wanted to update you on. I guess one more thing I'll just quickly touch on is after the last episode I had a number of really informative and cool comments about eucalyptus trees, including one in particular from AJtopia who was talking about the way that they are often planted in lines along roadways to act as a kind of windbreak or shade wall. So I've been trying to incorporate them a little bit around the park here. We've got one that's kind of acting as a shade wall along the perimeter here by the car park, or where the car park's going to be, and then likewise again over here behind the Mad Mouse. I know I said in the last episode I didn't want to do too much foliage, but the problem with foliage is it's kind of addictive. Like once you start placing them down, they start filling out the kind of skyline in a very pleasing way. So yeah, I may pare this back a little bit still, but I just really like the way that they work like this. I probably need to stop putting them in rows of 4 because it's starting to look a bit too kind of uniform, but yeah, I'm still trying to use them relatively sparingly, but trying to make sure I'm using them in the kind of in the way that they're used in the real world. As I say, I think that just about covers the update today. We've got various ongoing things that I'll update you on in future episodes. Before I go, I just want to very quickly shout out Jash, who's just made a very triumphant return to YouTube with his Planet Coaster series Electric Ocean. It's an absolutely amazing water park. If you're somehow subscribed to me or watching me and you don't know Jash, you should absolutely go and check Jash out. You know, Jash and Remnant together are both like the creators that I'm like aspiring to be on their level. So if you enjoy what I do, like, you absolutely need to go and check out Jash. I will put a link in the description. I think he's also got Kindly helping him out there as well. So yeah, it's just, they're cooking up some crazy stuff. I highly recommend it. And I think that's just about going to do it here today. So as always, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you next time. Bye!